Welcome everyone to the Eternal Return Guide. Today, I'll be covering Jan, Lumia's kickboxing contender. Today's guide was possible due to a good friend of mine, Atsuya Sheila. He's another Titan player coming from the NA server. He taught me everything I needed to know in order to make this guide. So Atsuya, thank you so much. If you like playing a high skill stealing combo heavy melee, then this is the right character for you. Jan is a combo-centric brawler that focuses on stack managing system to empower and recycle his skills. He can also be built as either an auto attacker or a burst mage and has the option to play Tonfa, which gives him heavier skill damage in exchange for weaker and slower auto attacks. Much of his strength relies on CC locking with a high burst of damage combos, using its built-in cooldown reduction to either chase down opponents or run from bad fights or third parties. He also has several transition and augment options, since his kit uses all sets well, making his damage hard to play around. Jan's weaknesses are that he's relying on proper use of his kit, where too many mistakes can either miss a kill or lead to death. He also needs transition in order for damage to stay relevant in the entire game. Without transitions, his combos and follow-up chases won't be enough to get kills. Finally, he struggles against many poke heavy range characters, since he needs to try to take as least damage possible while closing the distance. Jan's max order is usually the same for both playstyles, maxing your passive first, followed by a Q, then E, then your ultimate, and lastly W. We max ultimate after Q and E since we're only using ultimate once in a fight for the utility instead for the damage. Additionally, liking puts us in more scenarios where we need our ultimate, which is why it is recommended to max it before W. For Tonfa, you also see a scaling variant that maxes passive and 3 points into Q, followed by maxing E, and finishing maxing Q, then R, and lastly W. This maxing order puts emphasis on mobility and healing during fights due to Tonfa Jan's higher skill and scaling for bigger heals. Looking at augments, there's many options, so use a core augment that best fits your build. Adrenaline is good for the standard tanky auto attack bruiser currently used by Glove Jan. Diamond Shard is good for builds that lack defense, need a slow to stick to opponents, or just overall tankiness such as Crit Glove or in team modes. The Crit Bloodline is good for long sustained fighting or skill amp, so it's viable for both Glove and Tonfa Jan. Moving on to stacks that Jan wants on his transitions. Depending on your build, the main stack you want will be either attack power or skill amp. Having attack speed is needed too, since Jan needs stacks for extra damage and mobility. Blowing auto attacks can prevent that one stack needed to empower and recycle your skills to win the fight. Movement speed also works well, since closing distance is essential to win fights. And Jan's already sticky, so once he reaches the opponent, adding more movement speed makes it even harder for enemies to run away. Not only that, it makes skill shots easier to dodge, and dodging crucial skills at point blank range would be pretty important in most situations. Cooldown reduction elements can also be used for the same purpose of catching your opponents and helping the combo flow easier, but is not as necessary. As long as you do damage and can get stacks quickly enough, you can wear almost anything and be effective. Jan's best matchups are against immobile and squishy characters, since they're easier to kill if they enter your vision. The three easiest being Bernice, Aya, and Hyunwoo. Both Bernice and Aya can barely escape if Aya gets on top of them, since they lack strong escape tools, making it susceptible to getting comboed to death. Jan can also outrun both of them by empowering his dash for more dashes. On the flip side, Jan's worst matchups are against anyone that can heavily poke, longer range, and has more mobility than Jan. The three hardest being Celine, Emma, and Lara. Both Celine and Emma have ways to deal high burst damage while CCing you in the process. In fights against these two, you'll be forced to tank their poke and CC in order to reach them. Lara, on the other hand, while not having as much range, has several more dashes than Jan's kit can handle, making fights against her turn into a game of cat and mouse in Lara's favor. For combos, we'll be looking at two main combos that are needed to be proficient at Jan. For our main combo at melee range, we have auto attack into Q1, followed by an auto attack, followed by Q2, then we have our ultimate, followed by a W. Now, if you want to use your main combo at a further range, you're going to be using your E in order to close the distance, then follow up by Q1, then followed by an auto attack, then Q2, auto attack, ultimate, and finally W. It is important that you do these auto attacks in between Qs, that way you actually get to knock them airborne, and then after sending them airborne, make sure you're pressing R and then W immediately to finish off the combo. If done correctly, the airborne opponent should be sent flying towards the ropes, then pull back to the center as a stun target. At this point, the target is typically below half health, and you will have to freeform the combo in order to finish them off. After the combo is over, auto attack until you get 5 stacks indicated by the red bar, then use your empowered skills to recycle the other skills. The follow-up chase is typically using empowered E after the combo, then empowered Q, then empowered E again. It's important to do the main combo as fast as you can. Any second of delay gives the enemy time to escape, which ruins your kill potential. It's also okay to immediately mash Q1 into Q2 if the opponent is at low HP. Next up, we're going to be looking at our game plan. Yan is heavily reliant on transitions and weapon mastery for power spiking, so you're going to be mainly farming animals or fighting in the newly introduced battle zones in order to get that mastery and right resources. Ideally, for Glove Yan, I'd recommend getting a Mithril and a Meteorite at the very least, or Mithril Glove and Blade Boots respectively. If you do contest objectives, make sure you at least upgrade your weapon or leg slot, as Yan is not a big threat at objectives if he has no transitions. With Season's 8 introduction to credits on animals, as well as winning battle zones granting you extra rare materials, you have plenty of ways of getting these transition items for Yan in order to be a force to be reckoned with. So you're quite flexible on the way you decide to play, just make sure you're getting these transitions, and you'll be fine. Now, Tonfa Yan shares a similar game plan, but its stronger burst and defensive Tonfa skill allows for an easier ambush kills and third-party kills to steal someone else's transitions. Finally, here's some helpful tips to drastically improve your Yan gameplay. You're able to dash while casting W to reposition for a better knockback angle. This is helpful when chasing opponents, since if they're surrounded by terrain that you can stun them against with your empowered W, it can give you for a free chase. Your ultimate gives you a total of 7 stacks for free, 1 given instantly by pressing R, and 6 more over time. This allows you to get stacks much faster than people think, which allows Yan to chase well and combo often. Since Yan is so combo reliant, sometimes it's better to wait for your basic spells to be ready before starting a fight, even if the target isn't a prime spot for an ambush. Now, in the topic of approaching fights, if there's 3 fundamental things you should think about when entering a fight using Yan. The first one is vision. Effectively engaging as Yan includes following the opponent's movement, then catching them off guard using the Fog of War, and then using E plus Q1 into the main combo. Grab the CCTV console and place cameras in bushes or areas where you think they'll pass so you can intercept them. The second main thing is to engage once the key cooldown has been wasted, such as an escape, or any CC that will stop you from comboing the enemy. Last thing is to prepare stacks on animals or cameras before you start a fight. This gives you the option of a free dash, since your empowered dash reduces your dash cooldown by 70%, or you can use empowered Q1 for an immediate defense threat if it hits, and then a reset on your dash if you hit Q2. We talk about approaching fights, how will we escape them? Yan's ability to escape fights mainly relies on his E, especially his empowered E, so a really good tool for you to escape will be using your ultimate, since if they touch any of the ropes, then they will be slowed, as well as the ultimate will grant you those extra stacks that you need in order to empower the E and get extra dashes. Last but not least, while we showed the combo being pretty universal within Tonfa and Glove, when you're playing Glove, you are granted with that Glove skill, which will give you an extra auto attack. It pretty much just grants you a free stack in your combos, but it isn't too deep. You can use it at the end or at the beginning of your combo, respectively. It's not a huge difference. There is a trick though, that is your E empowering your next auto attack, which does apply to Glove skill, so do note that you could E and then Glove skill, and that will boost the damage in that for a quick burst. That was it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the guide, and if you learned anything, make sure you like and subscribe. Once again, thank you for TheRelaxedMovement for granting me all the information I needed to make this guide, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.